their pressure. But if you're Bev Priestman, you've now faced 2 different opponents who have played you in 2 different ways with this exact same formation. Do you still give it a go?
I'm not sure. The reason why you do is you just don't want to pull the plug on something that you can be successful for your team this early, Jordan. It's going to take time for these players, because I do think that this formation plays to the strength of some of the players in the team. Pushes Lawrence a little bit forward, puts Collins in a decent area. 3 center backs who are all good in their individual right, just didn't play connected today. So that's going to take some time. Certainly losing Jesse Fleming, a much more dynamic central midfielder in the first half, certainly hurts. So there might be a little bit of a rethink. It'll be a true test on how married Bev Priestman is to playing this way.
Let's see how she feels after this 1-0 loss to Brazil as we take a look at the full-time stats first, though, brought to you by Toyota. The Canadians here, they get their, shots here, 15-9 in favor of Brazil. They really didn't get their first shot on target until the 92nd minute, the Canadians, so 3 in total to Brazil's 9. But now let's hear from head coach Bev Priestman, who's with Amy Walsh in Montreal.
Refreshing way for that one to end. Bev, can you tell us anything before we get into the game? How was Jessie doing?
Yeah, she's good. I think like a migraine. She hadn't felt great this morning, and then had to come out.
Okay. And then with regards to the game, compared to how well you guys performed against Jamaica, really critical matches, and you had to do it under pressure. Do you think there was a little bit of letdown today against Brazil?
Yeah, I think we started right, but I think I said at the end there we've got to put the chances that we had. There was a lot in and around the box to bed, and that goal deflection doesn't matter. So I think, it was a great test for us. That's why we want to play Brazil. I think we needed that test in this shape to then build on and going into the next game, but frustrated on a deflection that late in the game for sure.
Yeah, and unlucky for Kaylin, because up until that point, a really great performance from her. So what do you take from this game? What are the positives then that you can pull to build on for the next time you face them in Halifax?
Yeah, I think we had bright moments. I think, to be fair to Brazil, like high pressed, and we struggled with that a little bit, so that's something for us to build on. But I just felt when we kept hold of the ball, that's when we looked good, playing on 1 and 2 touch. They're very aggressive. So I think getting a hold of the ball when we've been pressed is something that we struggled with today, and I think then it ends up that you're constantly in transition. So I think the first half, when we play forward, run forward, play quicker, we look better.
Thanks for this, Bev. We'll see you in Halifax.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, as someone who suffers from migraines, I can't even believe Jessie Fleming made it to the field. I'll tell you that. That is not fun to deal with.
Well, you work with us, so.
So every day I am suffering. All right, Forge Cavalry. It is coming up tonight, the CPL final. Who will be crowned the champions of the 2023 season? Forge hosting Cavalry. We'll set you up for that game beginning at 5 p.m. ET. But we're going to keep talking about Canada, Brazil, and in particular, the great Christine Sinclair, who subbed on in the 68th minute. We'll look back on her incredible career with Amy Walsh next.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed products, match jerseys, and fanwear.
Depodia Mini Entrepot, proudly supporting Canada Soccer's women's national team on their road to Paris 2024.
How do you go from the best to the ultimate without breaking the bank? You choose the big, bold, ultimate taste of ultimate chicken sausages and hot dogs. Choose ultimate taste and value, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
All good things must come to an end. We've all heard that saying, but until it hits close to home, we never really feel that saying. Christine Sinclair has been oh so good for Canada, and her time representing the Maple Leaf has come to an end. There's a generation of Canadians who only know this sport with Sinclair in it. Many started playing because of her. She was a sweet 16-year-old when she made her senior team debut. Now 40, where did the time go? For Sinclair, the time went into inspiring a nation. 2012 London Olympics, the hat trick against the Americans in the semifinals. The eyes. She wrapped everyone with her passion through those eyes. One Olympic bronze followed by another. Sinclair said what was on every Canadian's mind. The medal should have been a different color. That became the mantra heading into the Tokyo Olympics. Change the color. And that they did. Sinclair scored the opening goal of the tournament for her team and then watched the next generation step up to the penalty spot in the final game and change the color. Christine Sinclair, Olympic champion. Christine Sinclair, all-time leading international goal scorer. Time well spent by Christine Sinclair. The World Cup dream will be a bit of a sore spot, the one trophy that got away. But this isn't the time for what could have been. It's time for what did happen. Christine Sinclair lifted her teammates. She lifted her country. She's the reason you see the number 12 on the backs of young players on soccer pitches across the nation. Captain, our captain, thank you for all the good times. Let's bring Amy Walsh back in, former player, former captain for the national team as well, and Hall of Famer. You're out in Montreal, Amy. You know, I too have covered this sport really with Christine Sinclair being in it. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to talk about the game, the squad, and not mention the number 12 and where is she going to play and is she in or is she on the bench? This is all very strange, but as somebody who had the chance to be with her, earn the honor to call her Sinky because you're her friend, what do you remember most about Christine Sinclair?
I think it's her humbleness, her quiet nature, but that she's always taking everything in. I remember her as a fresh-faced 15-year-old coming into a squad. I think we're at the Algarve Cup in Portugal, and these piercing blue eyes that just, even though she didn't say a whole lot, you knew that everything was being taken in, and there wasn't any judgment, but just she was turned on all the time, just completely switched on. And you knew that she was a generational talent as soon as she stepped on that field. So it's the lethal, devastating finish that just always impressed, the simplicity of her game, the vision, and for me, it's the unmatched composure. I don't know if there's a player out there now, a modern day player, back when I played, because that certainly wasn't modern day, who matches the composure that she possesses and still possesses, even though she may have lost a step on the field in terms of her pace. And while you were doing that feature, while I was listening to it in my headset, she was running sprints behind me with Deanne Rose. So she's a leader by example and has paved the way for this next generation of talent and will continue to be emblematic of everything that it means to be a Canadian who plays soccer in this country.
You know, quickly here as we continue, and I know for the next few games as well, we'll talk about her. Do you think her real coming out party, even though, you know, you're mentioning all these great things and within the team, and there were some rumblings of like, hey, who's this new kid on the block? But do you think the real coming out party, the London Olympics 2012?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you think about legendary sporting performances, I mean, even beyond the world of soccer, and not even just Canadian, I just think all time across all sports, that performance in that game that they ultimately lost against the U.S. comes to mind for me. And obviously, I'm biased, but yeah, and I think that was in spite of what our country offered her in terms of the exposure that she got. If she was a U.S.-born player, or even in Europe where she could play in a pro league, we're still without a domestic league here in Canada. Project 8 is coming. Can you imagine if Christine Sinclair had that type of environment, that type of landscape to develop in and toil in and to shine in? So the fact that she became this global superstar, I think, really fell short of what she was capable of doing. So what she's done so far, as I eat some more of my hair here, is truly remarkable. And the fact that she's done it for as long as she has, you know, across, you know, when I was still playing, to this new generation. So I will continue to be impressed by her, and she's going to just be a beacon for this next generation for sure, in whatever sport that you're in, but certainly for all Canadians.
The countdown is on. 3 more games to go for her. Amy, great stuff there in Montreal. Let's do it again in a few more days' time as the Canadian women's national team will make their way to Halifax. That's a sellout crowd as well. That's sold out, from what I understand, in about 30 minutes. Christine Sinclair coming on in the 68th minute here, waving to the fans. A lot of them want to see her. Don't worry, Halifax, she's coming for you next. We're going to wrap this up, and then we're getting ready for the CPL final on One Soccer.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
All eyes are on Hamilton this weekend as the CPL final returns to Tim Hortons Field.
To start with him, Joe Mason gets the job done.
Can regular season winners Cavalry FC complete their quest for the double? Or will Forge FC once again stun an Albertan side that's no stranger to playoff disappointment?
Jensen gives it off. Here's Becker.
It's Cavs versus the Hammers. It's one game to lift the North Star Cup. And it's all right here on One Soccer.
One day, we won't have to work 2 jobs.
One day, we won't have to be players on the field and activists off of it.
One day, I'll see them and know I can be them.
One day, more sponsors will compete to join our roster.
One day, we won't have to leave Canada to play professionally.
But all of these one days are on the line. The future
of women's soccer
is on the line.
If you don't support us today.
All-state save of the match. She made quite a few of them. Caitlin Sheridan was busy in this game. This one is off of Sabina. Unfortunately, Brazil would find a way to break her in the 95th minute to beat Canada 1-0. But Caitlin Sheridan, she's going to have a lot of work, I guess, moving forward as the Canadians try to figure out this system, Jordan.
Absolutely, but this is a big save. Stay big, patient there. Big frame, big save, pushing it wide. That was phenomenal by Caitlin Sheridan.
She was great on the day. Deserved a better fate, really.
Well, we're going to get the Halifax rematch, Canada and Brazil. They play again on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's at Wanderers grounds, where Halifax Wanderers play. Little teaser as we get ready for the CPL final. Halifax's head coach just might be joining us in a little bit. I'm just saying, we have a whole other show that's coming up. Actually, this show is just going to keep on going here. But final thoughts as we wrap up Canada, Brazil, and some of the things that you'd like to see them improve on.
2 thoughts. It's the 5th time in the last 10 games that Canada's played where they haven't scored a goal. that certainly needs to change. And over their last 11 games, 4 wins, a draw, and 6 losses for Bev Priestman in Canada. Needs to be better. Second thought, look, us two are in the weeds of Canadian soccer, want to see the young players get their chance and that push for Paris. But I think the vast majority of people that are watching and coming out to these next 3 games want to see Christine Sinclair play. I just think 22 minutes of action of Sinclair, I don't think that that's enough. I think that this is a Christine Sinclair send-off, and she needs to play a lot more. She needs to start some of these games, Andy.
I think looking at this match, something to break down that needs to change for Tuesday is Brazil will go out and press again, Wheels and Andy. They will, because there was success there for Brazil. How do they counteract the pressure of Brazil-Canada? You have to play quicker and you have to play deeper. They have to do that on Tuesday. If they don't, they'll lose again.
Yeah, and I guess that's the struggle for Bev Priestman, right? The players she knows she's going to take to Paris, but at the same time, you have to give Christine Sinclair her flowers. How about that? The Barton Street Battalion, the supporters making their way inside Tim Hortons Field. The march is on towards the final, which is coming up on One Soccer.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
Some ugly scenes here